And if you loved Michael Jordan, it was almost as though you had to hate Jerry Krause.
Jerry had his own style, so to speak. Kind of slide in the back door and lean up against the wall and watch a game from a different perspective and slide out, not wanting anyone to know that he was there.
Jerry's reputation as a sleuth or a spy is underplayed, if anything. This guy has put on hats and raincoats and slid in and out of places.
He wears his Bulls shirts inside out sometimes when we're on the road because he doesn't want people to know that he's, scouting for the team. I always think, why wear a Bulls shirt at all? Why don't you wear a regular shirt right side out?
I'm sure that he might even believe Michael Jordan's a secret in his own mind.
Jerry started the negotiations last year with me, which was, I told him a mistake because he shouldn't get involved. General managers don't get paid what coaches get paid. It's difficult for that type of thing to go on, but because I had an agent, and this organization particularly doesn't like agents working with coaches, Jerry was forced into that role as an agent for the owner.
Are you surprised that the team has stayed together and the chemistry has been that good with all the backstabbing between you and coach and everything else?
Well, first of all, there's no backstabbing going on here, okay? Okay? You understand me when I say that? There's no backstabbing going on here, okay? Unlike the comment you just made. Gentlemen, good night.
Time to go, and I've been pushing at this horn a little bit for the last couple years about leaving and being ready to leave, and it's my time to go.
Everything's been working with Phill Jackson, so that would be my suggestion.
Joining us live now is Bulls chairman Jerry Reinsdorf. The question is this the last time we'll see this team together?
It's not totally up to me. I mean, Michael and Scottie and 7 other players are free agents. They have their own decisions to make with respect to their families. But I don't want to be the person that breaks up the Chicago Bulls as long as they're winning championships.
In the summer of 1998, the Chicago Bulls stood on top of the basketball world, celebrating their 6th NBA championship in 8 years. The iconic trio of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman, led by the brilliant Phill Jackson, had just completed their second three-peat, cementing their place as one of the greatest dynasties in sports history. However, Jerry Krause, the Bulls general manager, a year before in 1997 already said, "This is Phill Jackson's last season as the Bulls coach. I don't care if they go 82-0. This declaration created greater tension, which was already present in 1997. Michael Jordan said he won't play for any other coach except Phill Jackson. Scottie Pippen was furious with his contract situation as he was seriously underpaid, and Dennis Rodman was criticized for his off-court behavior by Krause. But Rodman didn't really care about Krause or his opinion. But this is just the surface of the story. To fully understand this toxic relationship, we have to go all the way back when Krause joined the Bulls.
Michael's second season with the team, of course, he injured his foot, and that was Krause's first full season as general manager. And that entire scenario just created the nightmare that would become the Jordan-Krause relationship.
We sent Michael to 3 specialists around the country, and all 3 of them told me that there was probably a 80-90% chance he could get re-injured. Well, I didn't want to send him out there. I kept listening to the doctors. Doctors kept telling me not to send him out there. Michael wanted to play more, and that's the kind of competitor he is.
They go to these meetings with the doctors. Jordan had said what the doctors said, and it wasn't what the team said. So next time, the Krause shows up with a tape recorder. And Jordan got furious about this. Said he, in effect implied he didn't believe him. So then they have another session, and now Jordan shows up with a tape recorder, and he says, I want to tape Krause because he's lying. They just don't want me to play because they want to miss the playoffs again. They want to get a high draft pick. It just got worse from there.
Jerry Krause, according to Michael, stepped in and said, you'll do as we say. You're our property.
And Michael, years later, remembered that as saying, that was when I knew I was in a business.
I tried to be as sensitive as I could to Michael. By the same token, I had a responsibility to our franchise and to the people that were paying me. And it's probably the most difficult situation I've gone through.
Like most head-on collisions, Michael won. He played.
Michael is still immature. I don't know necessarily that he was fair. I felt like Michael made a mistake to come back. and he could have jeopardized not only the franchise future, but his own future.
Jordan propelled the Bulls into the playoffs, where he scored an NBA postseason record 63 points against the Celtics. But the acrimony between player and VP increased 2 years later when Krause traded Jordan's friend Charles Oakley for center Bill Cartwright.
I told Michael we would inform him of everything we were doing, which he deserved. He was at a fight that night in Vegas, the night we made the trade, and I couldn't get to him. And the trade was announced, and he got a little excited, and that's fine. He didn't understand. Bill didn't know Bill. We thought that trade could turn us into a champion, and luckily enough, it worked out that way.
But even a championship followed by another one and then a third couldn't heal the rift between Jordan and Krause.
Michael wondered, why is this short guy the general manager of the Chicago Bulls to dictate what we are to be doing? I think he just had a kind of a resentment. He did feel that Jerry was trying to take a little bit more credit probably than he deserved.
Jerry believes he never got enough credit as a scout for finding talent, and nobody ever knew who Jerry Krause was before he became a general manager. And I think once in that position, he decided, well, now it's time. It's my time.
Jerry, with all of his tales, loves to regale people about his scouting accomplishments and how he stood up to get Sloan and Earl the Pearl Monroe, who were not household names. But tales like that would just set Michael Jordan off.
Michael began making fun of him more and more in front of the media. And then it started getting meaner, and you wondered where it came from. It was stuff like Scottie Pippen. Very innocently, after the first title, seeing a replica of the NBA trophy on Jerry's desk and admiring it and asking if he could get one made. And Jerry saying, absolutely not. That's only for the captains. And then later bragging to me about it that, he wouldn't let Scottie do it. I mean, why?
The personal insecurities that Jerry sometimes has, his ability to irritate people, to be brusque, as Phil said, all of those things factor in.
He alienated so many people. I mean, he just has such a horrible way about him that it's always easy to say he brought it on himself, but he doesn't know how to behave any differently.
One day we were on the bus, and Michael said from the back of the bus, Jerry, you can go fishing tomorrow. They got a lot of lakes out here. He said, don't worry about it if you don't catch anything. You can always eat the bait. So everybody on the bus was like laughing.
Jordan would be at the back going, Jerry Krause, this bus went a lot faster yesterday without your fat ass on it.
I'm not one to criticize somebody who's paying me pretty well to play or coach basketball. I think it's silly. I think it's silly, and I think it's a waste of energy.
If I'm the owner, I'm getting in the middle and saying, Michael, would you stop the crap here? Reinsdorf never did that. He allowed all this to fester.
By 1998, the tension has escalated to a boiling point, to where it had to be resolved, one way or another. Jerry Krause was backed up by the Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf. Reinsdorf tried to seem neutral in the conflict, but he was loyal to Krause, as he believed Jerry Krause stories how he deserves way more credit for what he did. Krause, feeling undermined for his work with the Bulls, infamously said, "Players and coaches don't win championships, organizations win championships," which caused the players' disdain for him.
Without the word alone in it, would have been an arrogant statement to make. But the statement I made was alone. I said players and coaches alone don't win, and that's true.
MJ made it very clear to Krause, "It's us playing the games on the court. And sure, the management and coaching is a big factor, but we play the games. Don't ever forget that," Michael said. Krause wanted to prove his point of being the main man behind the Bulls' success by rebuilding the Bulls from nothing. Phill Jackson had a very close relationship with his players. He wanted a bit more leverage in certain decisions concerning the team. Krause was absolutely against that. MJ was loyal to Phill Jackson and had a toxic relationship with Krause from day one, and Pippen was loyal to Michael and also disliked Krause because he was against Pippen's salary raise demands, and Rodman would side with Michael and Scottie if needed. What Jerry Krause failed to realize is that if the people held you responsible for breaking up the best team in the league, how come anyone else later would join your new team? The Bulls owner Reinsdorf could have possibly resolved the conflict, but instead he trusted Krause's ability to either resolve the situation or start from nothing. But the ego clashing could only lead to separate ways. Ultimatums were set on the table, and no one would relent in their demands. So the greatest team in the league fell victim to internal conflict. The Chicago Bulls disbanded, Jackson went to LA Lakers, Jordan retired, Pippen was traded to the Houston Rockets, and Rodman said he was done with basketball but later joined the Lakers.
It's a bad way to end an unbelievable run.
Krause was left to prove his point, but again, why would anyone join your new team after you disbanded the best team in the league? Jerry Krause failed miserably. The powerful Chicago Bulls team became a journeyman franchise after the departure of its key figures. Nobody wanted to join the Bulls. Krause made a push for Tim Duncan during free agency in 2000, but Duncan ultimately re-signed with the San Antonio Spurs. Krause also targeted Grant Hill in 2000 free agency, but he opted to join the Orlando Magic instead. Tracy McGrady admitted he strongly considered joining the Bulls, but was turned off by how Krause treated Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Instead, he went to Orlando to team up with Grant Hill. The Bulls attempted to trade for Kevin Garnett during his time with the Timberwolves. Garnett later mentioned that he had no interest in playing for Chicago under Krause. Krause effectively built a strong reputation for himself as being hard to work with, and for his team to be an undesirable destination by many players. After leaving the Chicago Bulls in 1998, Phill Jackson won 5 more NBA championships with the LA Lakers, bringing his total to 11 titles as a head coach. In the end, Jerry Krause proved only one thing, that players win the championships, not the organizations. But still, nobody can deny Jerry's success as a general manager. His scouting skill is top level. He had an eye for the underdog who's willing to become somebody. Some of those underdogs are Scottie Pippen, in whom Krause saw huge potential coming out of a small and relatively unknown college at the time, Central Arkansas, and made a draft day trade with the Seattle Supersonics to acquire him. Phill Jackson, who had very limited coaching experience before Krause signed him. Steve Kerr, who was overlooked by others because of his small physical stature, but Krause has seen the deadly shooter in Steve. Tony Kukoc, the brilliant Croatian who was one of the most skilled European players of his era and played a crucial role in the Chicago Bulls' second three-peat, and many others were given opportunity by Jerry Krause. This is one of the reasons why Krause felt betrayed by Phill Jackson, who laughed at the MJ jokes about him, as Krause believed Phill Jackson owes him everything, so the relationship went sour. When we put it all together, it's not just Jerry's fault for the Bulls' breakup, but he did play a major role as his ego got the better of him.
Michael felt perhaps a bit deceived. He's implied that a couple of times. He went to bat for Phill, and at the end he was stunned when Reinsdorf said, "Bring back what you want." Phill hopped on his motorcycle and rode off in the sunset.
Michael and I kind of distanced each other from what we had to do in our careers at the end of the season. I said, "You should make this decision on your own." And he said, "Let's leave it at that. I will make the decision on my own. But your retirement obviously has a lot to do with how I feel about the game."
I've said over and over again that I wanted to bring back the players and the coach who won the 1998 championship.
I know they forced Michael out of here. You do not hire coaches a year before or say he's going to replace a coach. And to sit there and have a press conference and we welcome you back if Phill wants to come back and all these particular things, is just to let the whole public know, well, we tried to get him back here. You don't do that.
If Michael Jordan had not retired, I don't have any doubt in my mind that we would have had an awfully good chance of winning another championship. But once Michael retired,
we talked about what we were going to do. Can we bring the rest of this group back and win with it? And it was an easy decision for me, and the answer was no.
It wasn't that Michael loved Phill so much that he was going to go down with the ship. He hated Krause so much.
If they crapped on the best player to ever play the game, then why would I want to go there? I just felt like Chicago, the management there is all about them. And unfortunately, players would win the championships, not management.
Jerry Reinsdorf very shrewdly has stayed out of the crossfire. And now, Jerry Krause, I hate to use this word, and I don't use it lightly, but he will go down as the most hated man in the history of Chicago sports, which is exactly what he didn't want.
The Chicago Bulls Dynasty came to an end while still having potential to win a championship. The best team of that time disbanded. The Bulls era was over, but the legacy lives on in every passionate fan and in every moment when these great players set foot on the court and wrote history.